So, here we go with a Orcs and Goblins army. Who'd have guessed? We have here 21 black orcs who are yellow orcs for this particular game. And they've all got shields. I know you can't see them, but they're there somewhere. A 31 Night Goblin block with 3 fanatics and a wizard, level 4 wizard at the front. And they have, surprisingly, the spider banner, which gives them a poison attack. So we'll see how well they do. Masquerading as spider riders is 5 wolf riders, are actually spider riders. Behind that, we have the red chariot is a black orc boss, big boss leader, and 2 orc chariots with him. A night goblin, big boss on cave squig. A snotling wagon that thinks it's a black orc boss on a chariot. It is actually snotling wagon, but don't tell them. Some squig hoppers, a big mangler squig, and this guy in the middle masquerading as a orc boss on Wyvern because I can't find my model. So there we are, 2,000 points. The spells are illusion, and we have Shimmering Dragon, Itchy Nuisance, Column of Crystal, and Special Doppelganger. Now, obviously, Itchy Nuisance is the Law of Mork, but they're the 4 spells that this guy's got. So hopefully that'll do some damage to those guys in the distance. We'll see. Okay, James will now do his.
Dice2cu2cudice. What we have here are the 1,997 points of Tomb Kings. Starting from the character section, we've got a Bone Dragon with Tomb King, armed with the Armour of Destiny and a Biting Blade. We also have a Mortuary Priest on horseback. This is a level 2 priest. It looks an awful lot like a skeleton warrior with a shield. I promise you, he's a priest. He's been properly inducted and everything. He's got the Staff of Awakening and will be casting Cursed Blades and Desiccation. Over on the other side, we have the old Khalida model, who will also be playing as a level 2 priest. She will be having the Earthen Ramparts and Cursed Blades spells. Now, Khalida is leading a unit of 31 bows, known as Rashtef's Teeth. We are going for the poisoned attacks. Khalida herself has the Scarab Amulet, gives a whole unit poison attacks on a 6. Behind them we have a Necro Sphinx. Again, looks an awful lot like a War Sphinx to the untrained eye. I'm sure you're all aware, it's definitely a Necro Sphinx. We've got a unit of 3 Necropolis Knights. The Knights have popped off for a quick cup of tea, left the Serpents here. We've got 2 units of 10 Skeleton Horsemen, who will be chucking their spears, definitely not stabbing. And the big star of the show, we've got a big unit of 5 chariots, led by a Tomb Prince, Reshtef the Foolish, on his own personal chariot with the 2 standards. He is equipped with the Icon of Rulership and an Enchanted Shield. The plan is basically to get these guys into those gobbos. Let's see how it goes. So, at the end of turn 1, both sides have moved to take the field. The Skeleton Archers use their reserve move to get close enough to fire some shots. And in the Orc turn 1, having taken 2 casualties from shooting, the Spider Riders decided they had quite enough of that and charged the Skeleton Horsemen. Both sides lost 1 casualty in the fight, which we decided was so pants we wouldn't even bother showing it to you. Must do better. So, the start of Orcs and Goblins turns 2. The Wolf Riders were seen off by these Skeleton Horse Archers, and their mates aren't very happy about that, so they've come over here to complain. Down at the other end, the Orc Boar Boys, the Orc Black Boys, charged down off the hill into the other unit of Skeleton Horse Archers. Over here, the Snotling Pump Wagon has managed to pull a donut and is charging the flank of Ushef the Magnificent's dragon. And over there in the distance, the wyvern is disrespectfully charging its backside towards the Necropolis Knights. Don't think they're going to like that. Just reference, the Mangler Squigs were just short of being able to make contact with their random movement. It was 1 inch in it. So, quick summary of turn 2. Pretty predictably, the Horse Archers bought it. Over in the centre, in the actual combat, the Horse Archers killed 2 yellow orcs and only took 1 casualty. It was only the crumbling that did them in. Over here on the far side, we decided actually to reverse that charge. It was random movements. And having charged me, the Snotling Cannon probably would have been chopped into very small pieces, and then would have been free to charge next turn. Over here, the flank charge, my champion challenged the Manticore's backside, and though he died, he did only take 1 model off the board, which means that Manticore is now stuck. It's looking a little bit hairy for the Tomb Kings at the minute, but we'll see what we can do turn 3. Okay, so at the end of turn 3, I said things might go a bit pear-shaped. They definitely have. Over on the far side, the Necropolis Knights were beaten, and the Manticore then piled into my Lich Priest, who happened to be my Hierophant, and ate him for breakfast. I didn't actually crumble very much, but having lost all my regen, we're in trouble. Over there, my Tomb Dragon did manage to finish off the big Mangler Squig, but unfortunately, in the centre, because of a cunningly placed Crystal Spire, the main unit of chariots weren't able to charge. So the Prince charged it on his own, and predictably bought it. The boys then cut down the rest of the skeleton archers, and then piled into the chariot. And what you see there is the remains of that unit. So what would probably have happened on this turn is not a huge amount, and then the orcs would have crushed what was left. The archers over here are about to take a manticore and a chariot and a very angry squig to the face. The chariots here, if they survive this round of combat, are going to get piled in by gobos and by the squig-mounted goblins. So we've decided to call it a game there. We're going to re-rack the board, and we'll see you in just a moment.
Fun.
At the end of turn 1, the Orcs and Goblins have been uncharacteristically wussy. They have stayed put, not done very much, while the Tomb Kings have moved very, very slowly towards them. There's been a lot of use of the Desert Winds spell, giving most of my army reserve move, so we've been able to shuffle forward a bit. At both ends, the Horse Archers have fired off a couple of rounds and then fallen back. Over in this corner, near the Boar Chariots and the Black Orc Boys, my units actually snuck in between a couple of units, and fingers crossed those squigs don't get a charge off. They're able to get into the rear and fire some shots. The Screaming Souls catapult targeted the Goblin Arch unit. Unfortunately, just managed to hit a squirrel somewhere in front of them. So not a lot has happened yet, but I've still got quite a few turns of shooting before he gets to grips with me.
So this is the end of turn. This is the end of turn 3. So what happened here is the Bone Giant charged into the archers. Now those archers, with their poison attacks and the fact it's a large target, is quite good. So he's got 6 wounds, mainly from bow fire. Certainly not from any combat. In the combat, obviously the Bone Giant won, but we rolled double 1 for the combat resolution. So they went back, and now we've got a potential charge in the flank with a boar chariot. Over here, the Manticore flew over to try and charge the archers in the flank. They reformed, being such a big line, that was a big twist. They got reserve movement, so they fired in, then moved back, but caused no damage. And over this flank, the Tomb Guard are continuing to move forward, and the Black Orcs sitting there in yellow. I wonder why that's yellow. They're certainly not going forward for a while, because that is a Death Star coming forward. So we're going to see how the Orcs and Goblins can manoeuvre around this one. But certainly we got a moral victory by causing 6 wounds on the 9 wound bone dragon. I don't think we'll cause many more if we do. We might with a chariot. Fingers crossed. I'm not saying anything.
You jammy beggar. He's only gone and done it again.
Double 1 twice. That bone dragon. And James kindly let me put the fanatics out, which I completely forgot to do. But we are trying to learn our armies. So very, very kind of him. And I feel extra guilty by rolling double 1 after losing all of those guys. So that's another give ground, I believe. You know what? When it gets bad, it gets bad. So this is the restrain roll, 11. Because it would be the Bone Dragon's turn next go. Can I just genuinely say this time I do feel quite guilty. Unlucky, James. So we thought we'd give an update at the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 3. So all I can say is power to the archers. So as shown hopefully in the clip, I hope I don't lose it, the Goblin archers rolled double 1 for their combat test for a second turn running. So they're still in the game brilliantly. Unfortunately, the blue chariot right in front failed its terror test and didn't charge into the flank. That could have helped me. We did finally remember to do the fanatics. James allowed me to put them out, but I think they're just as much a danger to me as anyone, especially with those two hovering around my guys. Over here, the Wyvern. That is a Wyvern. That's an Orc black boss on Wyvern. I know it looks like a Manticore, but hey, that archer unit. The turn before, it was able to do a reform, shoot, and a reserve move backwards. I charged the Wyvern in anyway, but to be honest with you, although the Wyvern won, it was a very close thing because of numbers. What I will say is this turn, the earthen ramparts, which the archers had on them last turn, did not go off. And now my level 4 wizard is in range of the 2 of the 3 Tomb King level 2 priests. So we're able to start actually stopping some of that going off. Over here, what we have is my squig hoppers are just slightly advantaged over the skeleton horse, but we are breaking through to this flank. So whilst we have a Death Star here of Tomb King's spears with a prince and what have we got in there?
There's a
Lich Priest. Perhaps I should have moved my orcs further forward, but the whole idea is to try and get round the flanks, which we are beginning to do. So we'll be able to tackle that Death Star in due course. So that gives you another perspective of the game. Fun game. It's been a bit slow because the first 2 or 3 turns is manoeuvring, but we're beginning to get some activity. So what are the odds of the Orcs and Goblins rolling double 1 for a 3rd turn running? Yeah, it's like Leicester winning Premiership. Well, you never know. So here we are at the end of Tomb King's turn 3.
Yep.
So we did a bit of an update slightly quicker than the last one. Never mind, it's done. So what we have is, unfortunately, the Night Goblin archers failed to roll double 1 for a 3rd turn in a row. Bad news. But they ran away and the Bone Dragon caught them and destroyed them. My fanatics did James a favour, went straight through my spider riders that are acting as wolf riders and took 6 out. And they're now fleeing, believe it or not. They are fleeing away into the centre of the table. Over here, the squig hoppers took out the last of the archers on the flank, and my wizard was now, my level 4 wizard is now in range of 2 of the 3 Tomb King wizards, and so I was able to stop the spells going through. So no more earthen ramparts for the archers. And what happened there, James? You lost 6?
So we lost 6. Once we counted in crumbling, it was more like 10. There's still a long enough line that we can fight, but that Fanatic's looking a little bit close, and I suspect the Manticore is probably going to destroy that unit next turn. And over on that hill, the boar wagons are looking awfully interested in the back of my bone dragon, so I think we might be coming close to a decision.
I think, well, yes. I mean, one of those chariots is well, if it can pass its test, but the red one is a hero. Whee! It might stand a better chance. The Manticore, the Wyvern, I think will struggle. I think it should still win, but whether it does enough is another question. I should have pushed my Black Orcs forward a bit more. They were being a little bit too cagey. Because now the Tomb King Death Star in the middle has turned to face my my flanking manoeuvres. That's fine. That gives me some ascendancy in terms of strategy, but I'm not sure if I can get my Black Orc guys into a meaningful combat. What do you think we should do? Have I been too cautious with the Black Orcs? That Death Star, that Tomb King's Death Star, does concern me. So this is the end of Goblin turn 455, and we're going to call it there. It was a very fun, close game. At least it felt close. Another victory for the Orcs and Goblins. This little fanatic here persuaded the Tomb Dragon not to charge. He didn't. It's on 7 wounds. How many wounds have you got altogether?
9.
So 2 more, and he would have gone. So he didn't want to risk it. So he did a breath template just to see what happened. And I've now got a few chariots ready to charge. Even though this guy here, who's actually the hero, he lost 2-0. He got 2 wounds and fell back in good order. But the Bone Dragon decided to turn and try and face off against the orc, black orc bosses. Black orcs, sorry. So as we come round, what I was able to do was to charge the orcs into the flank of the Tomb Guard and the Mangler Squig. And that seemed to do the job. Over here, I did get the Goblin Big Boss and the Cave Squig and the Chariot into the flank of those archers. Those with the Orc Black Boss on Wyvern were able to take them out. Slight disturbance there. Anyway, we're back. My squig hoppers are moving around. So and what we have here is James has got that spear block in the distance, which is effectively out of the game. So James is calling it. I think, to be honest with you, it is a victory for the Orcs and Goblins, but because of the Death Star that's here, even though I did well against it, I think that's still going to take some beating, and there's only 1 turn left, so that will still be around. So I don't think I'm going to get any points for that. Overall, James, what did you feel about the game?
I'm particularly disappointed in the way the Bone Dragon went. I hoped it would do much more. The Tomb Guard did nothing at all for the whole game. Even with reserve move, I could not get them into anything. This unit of Skeleton Warriors over here on my right did absolutely nothing for the whole of the game. And once you had my flanks, it was basically curtains. The Screaming Skulls catapult did literally nothing. No, that's not
damaged
true.
itself.
It damaged itself. That was all it did. If I was being generous to myself, I'd blame poor Dice. Naturally, the inspired leadership couldn't be at fault, but actually, no, I think I just played quite poorly. I could not get my troops into the fight. I couldn't do anything about your level 4 wizard, which meant that rotten crystal cylinder that you kept dropping on things kept getting in the way. And basically, I just did not have any way to get around the Tomb King's lack of mobility. I think if I was going to play this game again, I would probably dump the horse archers, trim off a couple of warriors somewhere, and I'd try and get a unit of Necro Knights onto either one of the flanks so that I had something that could actually hold up the stuff you're tracking down the side. But ultimately, my best unit simply didn't get involved. There's not a lot we can really do when that happens.
Well, to be fair, the Orc boys, they weren't going to go anywhere near it because I knew they may look tough, but they can't beat Tomb Guard, but beat buffed up Tomb Guard. Yeah, I mean that's a 600-point unit with your heroes in it, and I was quite happy to have my 300-point Orcs, big boys. What they call Orc Black boys? I don't know what they're called. Black Orcs. I'm happy for them to be sitting back. The Mangler Squig, it's a bit of fun. The real thing that I think prevented your Bone Dragon was the fact I rolled double one twice with my goblins. I mean, that's pure fluke on my side. So I wouldn't knock yourself too much on that one. I would have perhaps put your spear blocks together in the centre and just push forward. But then what would you do with your archers? It's a hard one. But I was quite happy to effectively manoeuvre one of your spear blocks out the way and then only hit the second one when I was in a position to do so. But I might have been overly cautious. Certainly was very, very scared of your Bone Dragon. And my Wyverns really, there's not a lot of attacks on them. I got 4 from the boss, the general, and then 3 from the Wyvern. It's not a lot of attacks, and to be honest, if I hadn't come round the flank or the rear with the chariot and the squig boss, which was only enabled by those squig hoppers taking out a unit of 5 skeleton archers, I don't think we'd have done much. But I always play for a draw and hope to get a win. And whilst the first few turns were a bit cautious, the last 2 were very hectic, and the third turn would have been hectic as well. So 6-turn game, I think that feels a bit right. You should do a little bit of manoeuvring to start with. If you go headlong first turn in a friendly game, right, I'm not a competitive player, but if you do that, then I think you're just leaving yourself open. Anyway, good game. Thank you very much, James. I hope you'll come again. I think 2 games. These are your first 2 with Tomb Kings. And let's face it, you've tried 2 different lists and you can go away and think about it. This is my 9th or 10th game with Orcs and Goblins. Yeah, I just created it for a bit of fun. But as I say, I'm a cautious player and I wasn't going to go anywhere near you, unless I felt I had some type of numerical superiority at a point in time. Anyway, anybody watching it, if you're still here, hope you enjoyed it. You never know, we might get some more in the future.